Okay, we're on the
Okay.
record.
Great, we're on the record. Good afternoon. My name is David Cousins, and I've been designated by the Commissioner of Consumer Protection to be the hearing officer in today's remonstrance hearing for case number 2022-409. Here with me today are Commissioners Boletto and McKinney. For the record, I'll note that the hearing has been convened at 1:01 p.m. on November the 10th through the Zoom platform. This is a contested remonstrance case hearing being held by the Connecticut Department of Consumer Protection regarding the application for a grocery beer liquor permit number LGB 15680-P.P-CW for Buddy's Mini Mart, 1709 Pequannock Avenue in Windsor, Connecticut, 06095. The backer is Buddy's Mini Mart LLC. So we are here due to a legally sufficient and properly filed remonstrance. At this time, I would request that everyone who's going to participate and testify in today's hearing, please state your name and address for the record, including what position you may hold. And we'll start with the DCP, please.
Thank you. Attorney Scott Madio, Department of Consumer Protection. I handle liquor enforcement matters.
Thank you. Agent Gagné, will you be testifying today?
Yes, Agent Gagné, Eric J. Gagné, Department of Consumer Protection, Liquor Control Division.
Cool. And Agent Brown?
Oh, Danette Brown, yes. I'm here. My address, you want my address as well?
Sure.
Yep, 3 Cleary Lane, Windsor, Connecticut.
Super.
And I'm the agent for the remonstrance.
Excellent. And Mr. Kumar?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Mr. Patel, sorry.
Yeah. My name is myself is Mauli Kumar Patel, 1709 Pequannock Avenue, Windsor.
Cool. All right, could everyone raise their right hand so I could administer the oath? Do you solemnly swear that the evidence you are about to give concerning the case now in question shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon the penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you all. If there are other witnesses that the agent for the remonstrance brings, we'll swear them in separately. Let me just quickly explain the process. Today, Attorney Madio will go first with his witness. The Department of Consumer Protection, who Attorney Madio represents today, does not take an official position in this matter. Attorney Madio, you can now present your first witness and evidence first, and then we'll turn over to the parties. That is first for the agent for the remonstrance, and then to the permittee applicant.
Great. Thank you, Hearing Officer Cousins. So just as a housekeeping matter, I'd like to introduce the first proposed exhibit, or offer the first proposed exhibit to be introduced into the record. Just bear with me. Sure, I don't see it. Show all windows. I see. Okay. All right. All right. Can everyone see this document?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I'd like to have this introduced into the record as Commission's Exhibit 1. This is the hearing notice for today's hearing. And again, just as a housekeeping matter, obviously the parties received the hearing notice. That's why they're here today. But I did communicate with them before the hearing today to provide them this document and to tell them I was intending to introduce this into the record as an exhibit. I also shared 2 additional documents that I'd like to introduce to the record, which I'll do through Agent Gagné's testimony. But for now, this is the first document that I'd like to be introduced to the record as the hearing notice.
Okay. And Scott, you signed it, it says.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This will be commission number 1.
Great, thank you. Okay, so then at this point, what I'd like to do is call Agent Gagné as my first and only witness.
Agent
Good
Gagné,
afternoon.
you've been sworn. Thank you.
Yes,
Good afternoon, Agent Gagné, how are you?
fine, thanks.
I know you said it before, but now that you're under oath, could you just officially state your name, title, and business address for the record?
Sure, my name's Eric J. Gagné, title Liquor Control Agent with the Department of Consumer Protection Liquor Control Division, 450 Columbus Boulevard in Hartford.
And how long have you been working with liquor control?
A little over 15 years.
And as part of your job to review remonstrances on new applications?
Yes,
Okay. And are you familiar with the requirements of laws concerning remonstrances?
yes,
Are you familiar with the requirements and the laws regarding grocery store beer permits?
yes, I am.
Did you review the remonstrance that was filed against Buddy's Mini Mart?
I did, yes,
Did you verify that this was a valid remonstrance signed by 10 persons in the town as required by the law?
yes, I verified that.
Okay. Was this remonstrance received in a timely manner?
Yes, it was.
And was this remonstrance on a new application, a renewal, or a removal?
It was on a new application.
And have there been any enforcement issues while this application has been pending?
As of today, about an hour ago, there's been no enforcement actions, cases active or even passed on this.
And could you briefly explain the substance of the concerns raised by the remonstrance?
Sure, in the petition, there's concern that this permit would be, is near schools, residential areas, and churches.
And you mentioned the petition, you're sort of anticipating my next step here. Just going to, all right, open this up. I'm going to share my screen again and show my next proposed exhibit here. Let's see. Hold on, let me see if I can rotate it first. Okay, can you see this document, Agent Gagné?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Do you recognize it?
I do.
And what is this document?
This was the signed petition received by DCP and forwarded over to me to make contact with at least 10 petitioners on this document.
Okay. I'd like to have this document introduced into the record as Commission's Exhibit 2.
Scott, there's a blue blotch.
I'm not entirely certain. I didn't mark that up. I noted it as well. My best guess, and I'd have to take a look at the. Just bear with me for a second. My best guess is that they were referring to an LLC that they believed was the backer. That is not in fact the backer. The backer is Buddy's Mini Mart LLC. I can see that it's referring to a different entity that's not the backer.
Okay, thank you. So, and this is how many sheets?
It's 2 pages.
So 2 pages, commission number 2.
Okay, thank you. Stop the share. Okay, and then Agent Gagné, did you prepare a report based off of your review of the petition and your general sort of investigation of the remonstrance or petition?
Yes, I did.
Filed by the agents for the remonstrance?
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
And let me just share my screen. This is the last share that I'll have. Can you see this document, Agent Gagné?
I can see it. Yes.
Do you recognize it?
Yes.
And what is this document?
That's the the report I submitted regarding the remonstrance petition and documenting some dates, important dates, and showing that it was a valid remonstrance and that I contacted 10 persons on that remonstrance.
Okay. I'd like for this document then to be admitted into the record as Commission's Exhibit 3.
And the exact name of this document is?
The agent's report, LC 18.
Commission's number 3, agent's report, LC 18.
Okay, and Agent Gagne, last question. Aside from the remonstrance, are there any other issues preventing the final approval of this permit?
I found none.
Okay. Thank you, Agent Gagne. I don't have any further questions for you at this point.
Commissioners, either of you have questions for Mr. Gagne?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Boetta? I'm sorry, you're muted.
I'm sorry, I do not, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Patel?
Yes,
Okay. Do you have any questions for this witness?
yes.
Fire away.
Myself is Maulik Kumar. I'm a handicap, and I'm trying to do small business, and I just opened the small business for myself and for help me out myself, and I want to like, I don't know how to explain, like, I'm a handicapped guy. I motivation my myself, and I open little.
Sir, you'll be given a chance to tell your side of the story. Did you have any questions specifically?
I think for
Yes.
this, sir, for this witness, I'm sorry, I don't think it was clear. Do you have any questions for this witness that just testified? You'll be able to ask other questions to other people that testify, and you could testify yourself later on. It was just to the witness that testified just now.
Okay, no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You-
Okay. So, no questions from Agent Gagne. So now I would turn this over to the agent for the remonstrance, Danette Brown. So, Ms. Brown, please if you could, actually, Scott, you do this part, right?
Well, I don't really have any questions for her. It's her sort of opportunity to
All right.
present. But just as a housekeeping matter, so everyone's aware, I did communicate with Ms. Brown and Mr. Patel beforehand. In addition to me exchanging or providing them with the documents that were just submitted into the record, I asked them to provide me with any documents that they thought they might want to introduce as evidence and have entered into the record as exhibits. Ms. Brown did provide me with 3 documents. I do have them up and ready, so whenever Ms. Brown wants to introduce them into the record, you can just let me know and I'll pull them up and share my screen and we can go from there.
Perfect. All right, Ms. Brown, could you repeat your address again?
Sure. 3 Cleary Lane, Windsor, Connecticut, 06095.
Thank you. Please proceed with your case, and any documents that Mr. Matteo can bring up for you, please let us know.
Okay. Well, first thing, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity for us in the petition to voice our concerns regarding the issuance of a grocery beer liquor permit at Buddy's Mini Mart located at 1709 Paquonic Avenue in Windsor, Connecticut. I first would want to say that the parties listed in the petition are believers in entrepreneurship, and we congratulate Mr. Patel on his desire to pursue his dream of owning his own business. We are not sure if this is his first attempt at such an undertaking. However, with it comes certain responsibilities to the community that it will serve. We are unsure if the business owner lives in town of Windsor, but a good number of the petitioners moved to the town of Windsor from Hartford. I myself lived there for over 13 years prior to my 8-year residency in Windsor. It was there that my husband and I witnessed firsthand the impact that corner grocery stores can have on a community when there could possibly be an irresponsible owner at the helm. We moved to the town of Windsor because of its character, its charm, its dedication to serving the members of its community. And while we welcome the convenience of, grabbing a quick gallon of milk on the way home or a carton of eggs to complete the list of ingredients for, a chocolate chip cookie recipe that you have to, make for tomorrow's bake sale, the addition of the sale of alcohol and beer adjacent to our local elementary schools, churches, and town recreation centers is not welcome, especially if the business does not plan to make the public safety of our community a priority. Although it can be debated by some, it is our opinion that such stores over time can potentially have a negative impact on the community. The Journal of Urban Health discusses the impact on neighborhoods where there is an overconcentration of liquor stores or there is an increase in the physical availability of alcohol, especially when alcohol and beer is promoted heavily for commercial interests. The study goes on to say that the heavy promotion makes drinking more socially acceptable. These are not values we want to instill in our children at such an early age, nor do we want the positive attitudes and promotional images to encourage drinking at an earlier age. So in addition, we also have concerns that during times of economic hardship or an economic recession, which some economists predict may occur in the upcoming year, there could be an increased availability of alcohol will lead to more alcohol consumption. Forget the aesthetics of the store, which we believe is not in keeping with the charm of the area by its many neon lights and cluttered window signage. The increased potential of loitering and crime makes the addition of alcohol and beer sales a problem for our community. The town of Windsor has several zoning regulations prohibiting the sale of alcohol and beer by businesses that are within certain distances of our schools, churches, and community centers. These zoning regulations do not apply to legitimate grocery stores who sell beer for retail and off-premise consumption. The key word is legitimate. The state of Connecticut's Department of Consumer Protection, Liquor Control Division's Grocery Beer Permit Quick Reference Guide states that the business must remain primarily engaged in the sale of grocery items to keep your liquor permit. We interpret this as the sale of alcohol and beer should be an enhancement to the business, not the primary source of revenue. We have seen far too often how corner store businesses say they are providing a convenience, but a convenience of what? Often in these establishments, the grocery portion of the store is stocked with expired goods because their main revenue is from the selling of vapes, tobacco, alcohol, and beer that they flood our communities with. Mr. Patel, in your own words, in response to Mr. Medeo's email regarding our hearing today, you stated, "If I don't get grocery beer license, I have to shut down business." Does this sound as though the business's primary focus is the sale of grocery? We believe not. In the photo, which I think will be Exhibit 1 included for today's meeting, I don't know if you can bring that up, but that the largest signs of your business are advertising of beer sales. And it appears that this will be your primary focus with regard to revenue. If this is the case, the town of Windsor B1 and B2 zoning regulations should apply, and all of the distance requirements, ADA guidelines, signage restrictions, and noise ordinances should apply as well. Because of this, and these reasons previously stated, we ask for a denial of the grocery beer permit.
Thank you. Did you want to have Mr. Medeo bring up your exhibits?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
That particular exhibit right there, shows the aesthetics and also there should have been another one.
And
'Cause
actually, so let's do these one at a time. So
Okay.
this is a photo you took of Buddy's Mini Mart. I see a date of November the 8th. Is that correct?
I sent it to him November the 8th.
Okay.
I sent it to him November the 8th. That
Okay.
picture,
Okay, sent. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's the first one. All right. So let's mark that as a remonstrance agent number, remonstrance agent A. Okay, please go forward with what you wanted to say about this exhibit.
yeah, I may have included the wrong photo inside there because on the other photo, there's two advertisings for beer, but that's okay.
If you want to bring up the other one, we could do that too.
I think I may have sent him the wrong one,
Ah,
but that's okay. That's okay.
That's the only photo that was transmitted to me. There's 2 screenshots that were initially attached, but no other photos.
That's okay. I may have sent you the wrong photo, but it's pretty much the same. The only thing that's different is that there are now stripes in front for parking, and there are additional signs that says we sell beer now, but that's fine.
are there other so those, I'll start that question again. Do you have any further documents?
There is another document with kind of a map that kind of shows the proximity to the locations that we're talking about.
If you'd like to bring that up.
Yes.
So this is from what platform?
It's just a Google screenshot.
Okay, Google screenshot. And you'd like to offer that as an exhibit?
Yes.
So let's call that remonstrance B, remonstrance agent B. So could you tell us what exhibit B says?
Yeah, so basically this is just a screenshot of the proximity to, if you can see, just north of Buddy's Mini Mart is St. Joseph's Church. Right across the street is Pequannock Elementary School. Although the entrance to the school is where they have the little, cap and gown. I'm gonna cap the cap. I can't think of the name of that, right?
Mortar board.
Okay, so that we have that, but the property line for that school goes quite further, and it's right across the street where the kids play and different things of that nature. And then just I'd say southwest of it, you can see that Welch Pool and park in the field is right there as well. And so in the entrance to that you have to go through the pool, you have to actually even take the road that's like right next door to that particular where there's adjacent parking for the mini mart. And then the other exhibit that I put in, really was just about the times of day that it's actually open.
Do you want to tell us what those are?
Yeah, just from 6 a.m. and
Oh, there you go. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yep.
So
from 6 a.m. to 8:30 p.m.
This is from Google as well?
That's the same thing. That's Google as well, yes.
So we'll mark that remonstrance agent C.
Which just indicates that, that's being open at 6 a.m. with children having to be at school, whether early drop off or different things of that nature. There's a walking to school and different things of that nature. The business is open during those times. That's all I have for the statement, but I did have, questions at the end that I would like to say as well, but I'll wait till the end for those, if that's appropriate. I don't know what's appropriate.
Questions for who?
Well, I had questions for the applicant.
Okay, yeah, that'll come later.
Okay.
So commissioners, start with Commissioner Bellato. Do you have any questions for the remonstrance agent?
Yes, approximately how far would you say the front door to the store to the front door of the school is?
The front door of the school, I would say that's probably about 0.2 miles, somewhere around in there. But the front door of the school, yes, but not the property line of the school.
Okay, and have there been any neighborhood issues with the store that you know of?
Not to my knowledge as far as selling of beer, more on along the lines of parking issues.
Okay. And let me, I think I have a question more for staff. Do you want me to wait? Hearing officer, or should I?
Yeah, if you want to wait, that's fine.
Okay.
Further questions? Other than that, no. Commissioner McKinney?
Yes, thank you very much. Ms. Brown, have you seen loitering outside of Buddy's Mini Mart?
I've seen people standing there. I wouldn't call it loitering because it wasn't like they went into the store and came out of the store and just stayed there. But because of the fact that it is adjacent to the school, I've seen people walking there and just kind of standing around, but I wouldn't say that they came out of there. It wasn't because they came out, it's just because they were in the adjacent area.
Okay, and have you seen any other kind of, I don't know how to describe it, activity around Buddy's Mini Mart that is troubling?
At this point, no.
I know you mentioned having concern about possible loitering and other activity. What makes you think that it could happen if it hasn't happened already?
Well, what makes me feel like it can happen, even though it hasn't happened already, is because of the statistics about grocery stores and different things of that nature. And once you have more traffic to areas such as that or stores such as that, you tend to see people that if they're just having nothing to do, they're just kind of standing around because they're going in and out of the store. The parking situation there is less than ideal. So even though it looks as though there are parking spaces, but it's really an area that people just sometimes, I've seen people stand around, not that they've come out of there standing around, but they've just stood around in the area.
Okay, and you'd also mentioned just concern that this type of corner store could have outdated food, might not really be selling groceries. Are you aware of what Mr. Patel is required to show in terms of grocery sales in order to have and to keep a grocery beer permit?
I'm aware of the grocery permit breakdown list for his sales. I'm not really sure what was submitted initially in the beginning, but that is a question that I have regarding, what his projection is for beer sales versus grocery sales. I know that I personally went in there, but it was in the beginning that there wasn't a lot stocked on the shelves, but I would anticipate that with a brand new business, you would have to get more, inventory, different things of that nature. But, again, typically, and I won't say, not that it's going to happen to him, you know what I mean? But I want to make sure that, if for some reason that he does continue to get this license, that he is going to take the necessary steps to make sure that he's serving our community properly.
Okay, and just so you know, in terms of what our laws and regulations require, Mr. Patel has to show that more than 50% of his sales are grocery sales. If his beer sales were to be more than 50% and his grocery sales were to be less, then he would not be eligible or we could determine to take away a beer permit if he doesn't meet that standard, just so you know.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
So, Mr. Patel, do you have any questions specific to the agent's statements, or do you want to?
No,
No, okay. This would be a good time. Commissioner Bellato, did you want to bring something up?
Yeah, I don't know if this should go to Scott or Caitlin. Scott, this is just a procedural issue on submission, I think, so you might be able to help with this one. Would they have had to go through the zoning or have zoning compliance sign off before the application was submitted for this?
Excuse me. I think Agent Gagne can probably testify to that. Agent Gagne, could you answer Commissioner Belato's question?
Sure. Yes, the town officials would have to sign off on this type of permit.
And so
before we-
assuming that's what they did, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that was zoning, school, and all the usual requirements, right?
School, I'm sorry.
Distance, don't they usually do distance school and what's up to their zoning requirements, or am I mistaken?
Whatever I would not know how they determine whether or not they're going to sign the permit or not.
Okay, so we just got the sign off from them. Okay,
Correct.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any
Agent
other
Gagne.
questions?
Thank you.
All right. So at this point, since we've had statement and questions for the remonstrance agent, Ms. Brown, do you have any other witnesses?
I do not have any other witnesses.
Okay. So at this time, we would call the permittee, Malik Kumar Patel. Mr. Patel, reminder that you're under oath, and please tell us what's going on.
my name is Malik Patel, Malik Kumar Patel. She said for sign, we can remove, no problem to remove sign. I immediately remove the sign. Plus we have a all lock in my beer door. We not open the before 8, and I always the kids coming with the parents, and I always put the eye on him. I every time ask the ID, and even they ask the price before any smoking beer. I say, can I have see your ID first? Then I answer to them. Plus the school garden, they have some fun of the house. They cover, the kids doesn't see my business from the school. And every time kids come in with the parents, I never see the kids come in without parents. Plus nobody hang around outside in my business. I never see anybody hang around. Even the kids, every time I tell them after they buy the candy and stuff, have to go, like they can allow to hang around around my business. Plus the backside, the field, like baseball field, I don't have any kind sign over there. They will not see my store front of the door, because my door is a little bit in the right other side for the road from they going for the field. And no one complain my neighborhood. Nobody complain around my neighborhood. Even not the school staff, school, the kids' parents, any church people, they going church, nobody complain and nobody say to regarding my beer license. Thank you, sir.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. Patel?
I don't believe so. Space for a sec.
Commissioner McKinney?
No, thank you.
Just for housekeeping, Mr. Patel, do you remember when you started selling beer?
9/2/2022.
Thank you. Okay. And Ms. Brown, do you have any questions for Mr. Patel?
I want to know how that date, people that are on this petition were in there in August and beer was available at that particular point. But and as far as he's saying, no one's complaining about the business. Well, there's people on this list that live adjacent to. And so the fact that they're on this petition means that there is a complaint. But I do have a few questions. He did answer a couple of them, but I do have some more questions for him.
Please ask.
Okay, so what experience do you have right now as an owner with this type of business? Is this your first?
Yeah, that's my first business.
This is your first business. Okay. And so how are you managing the sale of the beer? So just walk me through that process. You say that there's a lock on the door. Is that lock on the door after hours, before hours? Is it locked and then someone has to, let you know when you open it? How does that work?
So I lock before the time, like the beer, the start selling after 8 a.m. So I open 8 night time, I locked it, and I open after 8 a.m. in the morning.
And so what about your plans for promotions?
Like what kind? What? I'm not. Can you explain me like what?
Well, what I see a lot of advertising. Your windows are full of "we sell beer, we sell beer, we sell beer" scenario.
We have some drinks advertised because we are new business, so we just put the advert. But we can remove immediately all my beer sign. Like I have couple of them, one neon. That's not the no issue. I can remove right away. It's no problem for that.
And promotions, like in stores, discounts and promotions, how do you plan on managing that?
We don't have any beer promotion yet, discount anything.
How do you plan on managing future ones?
No, we're not doing.
So you won't have any sales of beer while you're there?
No.
Okay. What preventative measures have you put in place to mitigate theft and theft for minors, other than just telling the kids, you bought your candy, go? Do you have things in place to minimize that?
Pardon, please.
What preventative measures do you have in place to mitigate theft and theft from minors, especially with beer?
Like mostly the kids come in with the parents. Some of them they're 19, 20. They will not look the beer. They just buy the candy and soda and they start walking because they know we put the not allowed to buy underage, like underage 21, anyone beer,
So because this is your, first venture such as this, have you thought about the fact that it could potentially happen?
Like, can you repeat again? I'm sorry.
Potentially that a young individual underage could go into your store and swipe a can of beer or, steal something or of that nature. So
nope, because my counter next to the beer cooler, and I always watch every time they come in, go around, I put my 2 eyes on him to make sure they don't open nothing. They just buy only the drinks, candy. So I always watch it 100%, make sure they don't take the any beer item. That's my first thing, and they entered the store.
Okay. Like I said before, parking at this location is less than ideal. So how have you, coordinated with vendors regarding loading and unloading your deliveries? Because again, I've passed by there and there are big trucks that are there and, they're unloading things in an area that's not necessarily safe. So how have you kind of coordinated with them regarding the loading and unloading and as well as the delivery times?
Well, when they come in, that time is my business is slow and I have a side space. They fit in a side space. Is no problem, no complaint from the delivery guy. They always is a good enough space to deliver the beer.
Well, but that space that you're talking about is the road that goes directly to the baseball field.
No, but the delivery coming in the morning time, that time is no kids, even nobody around in that road, because game in a night time, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in a PM, that time my delivery no come. My delivery come only in the morning, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but my question is, because I mean, now there may not be anything that happens during this time period because we're in the fall, but in the summertime when it's busy, the pool is open, people are going back and forth, at nighttime, parents go there, for events and different things of that nature, in the afternoon. So, I mean, how have you, maybe you haven't thought about it thus far, but
Well, the delivery guy, he take only 5 minutes. And if I tell them they come with the small truck, that be all like that be no problem, because they come in, they take only 5 minutes, and if they come in early morning, so it's not, I think, affect anything. Even I tell them like make sure they come in a small truck, they be fine. They come in a small truck, and no, is no problem to like for
The other question I have is, so you kind of talked about this a little bit, but I want to, want you to expand on it if you can. What responsibility do you feel you have with regard to the marketing and advertising images that are displayed in front of your store?
And you mean specifically alcoholic beverages?
Correct, correct.
Well, I can. I told you, like I'm. That's my first business. I don't know, but I know issue. I can remove, right? I don't need to advertise for beer. I can take it out. I like to cooperate with the neighborhood and the town. I just start that way. I put. I can remove the sign. Is not the issue. I can do right away.
I hear you, but that kind of
Because
wasn't the question. But the question was, what responsibility do you feel you have? Do you feel like you have a certain responsibility to make sure that those images are positive,
No.
or to make sure that those images are something that is what we feel in our community, at least, are good images for our kids, so we don't make that as a positive image. Do you even live in town by any chance? I'm just curious. Do you live in Windsor?
No.
Okay. So the last question that I had was actually for Agent Gagne. I think it would be him that would be the answer to answer this question. When I looked up the application status for the permit, it said approved for final, assigned to hearing. Does that mean that the application was approved prior to this hearing, or what does that mean?
The business is currently operating under a provisional permit since August 30th of this year.
Okay.
They are not approved for a final permit. The provisional permit is a temporary permit. Final permit would be final, goes for a year. So no, they are not approved for a final permit pending this hearing, depending on the outcome of this hearing. Apparently, that's my understanding.
I know that, but what it said specifically was approved for final, hearing, assigned to hearing is what it said. But okay, so you said they're not approved prior to the hearing.
That's correct. They're operating under a provisional permit.
Okay. And the other question that I have for you is what is the amount of days that are required for the placard to be visible? And because I know that when I saw the sign said that I had until like the 31st to, oppose, but the sign went down way before that. So I wanted to know, like, what was the time period that the sign was supposed to be visible, and if there were any other requirements such as public notices or anything of that nature that were required.
Sure. The specific dates, there were public notices, and they're in compliance with the public notices. The newspaper publisher certificate was signed off on by the Journal Enquirer, and the sign should have been up until August 9th and then taken down. I'm not sure if that answers your question. So yes, the remonstrance date, which was August 30th, could be after the date that the sign can come down.
So the time period, that's obviously, what is the number of days that are required? Because I looked at it and I'm just curious, because it didn't seem like the sign was up there very long. So I'm just curious about the number of days that are required.
So we received the certificate of publication certified. The sign should have gone up by July 19th and taken down, well, anytime after August 9th. So that time period, I believe, is 21 days or so.
Okay, all right. I think that is all the questions that I have. I appreciate it.
Commissioners, any follow-up questions?
Just a comment to the remonstrance. One of the issues, and I hear your issues and your pain, and I hope if this goes through that he's a great neighbor for you, but most of your issues are with the town and the zoning, and the town has signed off on the zoning. Just so you know, that was part of their application. So they approved the distance from the school, most likely. They approved the distance. They look at all those items and sign off on it and then send it to us. We don't have control over the distance from school once the towns sign off on what their zoning portion of this is. And that would probably also include, and to some degree, the signage that they allow in town. So some of that would be that, you may have to go back to the town and check out what the requirements and their issues are. Those unfortunately don't fall under us. Just so you know that, I wanted to explain that to you because we're sympathetic to, the remonstrance and the people that file out in the community. Two is that he doesn't have a track record. And you're, unfortunately, we're getting hit with a lot of what ifs. If there was a track record or there was an incident, or if there are incidences, if this does go through, you certainly should file or put a complaint in the future. So it would come back in front of the commission if this does go forward. So you have the opportunity to do that, or you have an opportunity, I believe, a year from now to file another remonstrance if the neighbors still feel the same. And there are issues that do happen if this does go through. So there are other avenues to keep this in check. And certainly feel free to, to file a complaint, but you do have a lot of issues that seem to be zoning related. So you really should check with the town also and bring some of these up to the town.
I appreciate that response. I mean, I'm aware of the zoning issues and, which ones come from the town. And that's why in my statement, I said that, there are certain regulations that pertain to those zoning,
Right.
But the grocery permit doesn't apply to those. So I'm aware of that. But again, it has to do with that balance. So if he qualifies for the permit, one of the major things that qualify you for the permit is that the grocery is, the beer is not the primary sale, a source of revenue. And so, yes, we're at this crossroads as far as where the timing is, because he's a new business. He doesn't necessarily have, the revenue to justify it. That's why my question was about the breakdown sales report that he has to do in his application, because depending upon what that report was at that particular time, and when it was done, like he just said that his first sale of beer was on 9/2, but this application started in August. So if the application, or in July, so if the application started in July, we really don't have any business in any liquor sales at this particular point, because he didn't sell liquor at that time. Right. So, it's kind of one of those situations where either, we're putting the cart before the horse or something like that. I think that's the term, but I just want to make sure that, let's say this does go through, that Mr. Patel understands that there is an obligation, to service this community and be mindful of that. At this particular point, it sounds like, from my perspective, that he does want to do whatever is necessary, but at the same time, it's not like it was the forefront of his mind when he started this business.
Yeah, well, we're seeing, and you have a lot of checks, and so does the department. The director is has presented many a case to us where people have not met those qualifications and permits were removed, or we will follow through. The department's very strong on that, and they definitely will follow through. So I'm just letting you know that there's a lot. If this does go through, there's a lot of future avenues that if this doesn't work for the neighborhood or people, you need to come back and go through the process, go to a complaint or something else. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, thank you for your time. You did a great presentation. Thank you.
Commissioner McKinney, any follow-up questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, so Ms. Brown, do you want to make a quick, a summary? I won't modify it.
Just that, you know, I think that based upon the information that we got here today, I feel like the permit should be denied until he actually at least gets his business under, you know, I won't say under control, but he has more revenue to be able to justify being able to have this liquor permit right now. And also to be able to, you know, justify that it won't be his only primary source of business or main source of revenue.
Thank you. Mr. Patel, could you make the closing statement, please?
No.
Okay, no problem. All right, so thank you all for attending. The commissioners will review all of the testimony and documents that have been presented at today's hearing and issue a written decision shortly to both parties. If either party is aggrieved by this decision, there's an appeal process. With that, today's hearing is now adjourned, and I will note that the time is approximately 1:52 p.m. Once again, thank you very much.
Commissioner,
Have a great day.
can Commissioner stay on, please, once we're,
I don't know how we do that on Zoom.
Scott.
Scott, you're muted.
And we're not bright enough to figure it out.
I'm going to stop the recording, and I don't know how you'd stay on after Zoom.
All right, so commissioners, if you want to get on a quick Teams call, I can